678 is the song.
678. Throw out the lifeline. This is a picture of Glacier National Park. It's in Montana. And the Lord willing, Karen and I are going to go visit that park in September. But there's something interesting about a sign that they put up in 2017. It predicted that global warming would destroy the glaciers. But the Bible has proved to be accurate in its prophecy of whatever it prophesies. Man is not. There is the sign. And it says that computer models indicate that glaciers will all be gone by the year 2020. It's 2025 now, and 2020 it was still there, and they had to change the sign. In Deuteronomy 18 and verse 22, it says, if a prophet says in the name of the Lord, what the prophet says in the name of the Lord does not happen, it is not the Lord's message. The prophet was speaking his own ideas, and don't be afraid of it. What does a computer tell you? Whatever you put into it, that's what it feeds right back to you. This was a computer guess by man because it didn't come to pass. What if meteorologists or weathermen only got paid if their weather predictions proved to be correct? They wouldn't eat very well, would they? It's sort of like going to a gambling place, and you might come out a winner, you're probably going to come out a loser. In ancient Israel, the stakes of being a prophet making incorrect predictions was very high, more so than forecasting the weather. Nebuchadnezzar was going to put his magicians and prophets to death if they did not tell him what he dreamed and what it meant. But Daniel, being a prophet of God, came through for Nebuchadnezzar and saved the other. You have to be a certain age to remember this lady, and she was named Jean Dixon. And back when I was a teenager, I could hear about her on the radio and TV. She predicted that Russia would put the first man on the moon, and World War III would begin in 1958. Didn't come true. Joseph Smith Jr., and I'm assuming this is Joseph Smith's son, founder of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, predicted that several Mormon apostles, which were alive in the 1830s, would live to see Jesus return, and that the American Civil War would be a full end to all nations. You know, he didn't know that wars were going to be a lot bigger and destructive than the Civil War. I don't know this next person. He was called a faith healer. His name was Robert Tilton, and he sent a letter to Tom Crowley requesting a donation, and he said, God spoke to me this morning specifically about you, Tom, and he's going to heal you. And when the letter was written, Tom Crowley had been dead for 5 months. People that try to be a prophet without God's help have a rough road to go. These people claimed that God was guiding them, but their predictions were as wrong as the sign at Glacier National Park. According to the Bible, can we be sure these people were not from God? Yes. If their predictions don't come true, they're not from God. Let's take a look at some predictions that did come to pass. Promises to Abraham in Genesis 26 and 28. God promised that Abraham's descendants would become a great nation, would receive the land of Canaan. Despite the denials of some, God gave Israel all the land that he promised to their fathers. God's prediction of the future came true. There are people now still looking, still hoping that Israel is going to find the promised land. They don't think Israel ever found it. But in Joshua 21:43, it says, "So the Lord gave the people all the land he had promised their ancestors. The people took the land and lived there." The land promises has been fulfilled for many years, many years. A lot of people don't believe of Jesus' resurrection. Jesus told his disciples about the time of his death and what was going to happen. He said he would be betrayed to the Jewish leaders and would be killed by the Gentiles or Romans, and they would scourge him and crucify him, and he would rise again the third day. And this is in Matthew chapter 20. How do we know that Jesus was resurrected? Well, many witnesses testified that they saw Jesus after he was put in the tomb and that he was raised. In 1 Corinthians 15:5-8, and he was seen by Peter and then the 12 apostles. And after that, Jesus was seen by more than 500 of the believers at the same time. Most of them are still living today, but some have died. Then he was seen by James, and later all the apostles, and last of all, he was seen by me, as by a person not born at the normal time. That's Paul speaking. There are people today that's still looking for Jesus to come back to earth and set up his kingdom. Daniel, by inspiration, prophesied that Jesus' kingdom would be set up during the Roman rule of the Roman Empire. Jesus predicted that people in his day would not die until they saw the kingdom come. That's in Mark 9. Paul said that God had put him and the Colossian Christians in the kingdom. In Colossians 1:13 and 14, it says he has delivered us from the power of darkness, conveyed us to the kingdom of his Son, of his love, in whom we have redemption through his blood and forgiveness of sins. The Colossians were in the kingdom. The Corinthians were in the kingdom. People at Ephesus were in the kingdom. God's promise came true. It's a spiritual kingdom, the church, and everyone can become citizens of that kingdom by obeying the truth. There's still a lot of talk about Jesus' second coming. Jesus will come again, and we'll all be judged by Jesus. In 1 Thessalonians 4:16-17, the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, with the trumpet call of God, and those who have died believing in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive will be gathered up with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and we will be with the Lord forever. Are you ready for Jesus to return and judge your life for an eternal reward or eternal punishment? If you're subject to the invitation, won't you come as we stand And as we sing.
Throw out the lifeline.